Well, to that, let's cheers to Victor.
But wait. But he probably likes her because she's a Rough Rider.
I see what you did.
It's a little those dad jokes. You haven't earned those stripes
I
yet.
hate you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. To another episode, 3 episodes. Oh, I didn't even drink.
We could be, if we put our mics a little closer while we sip, we could be an ASMR channel. Can you hear my
gotta
gulp?
be quiet.
Oh no.
Go.
I hate.
Did you hear
no,
that?
Stop. I hate noises like that. I hate it. No. Please don't.
All right. I say we're gonna dive into this. And we're gonna do this off track. We're not following episodes because let's all be honest, if you watch these 3 episodes, I don't know what the hell's going on with production. It's all over the place. So we're just gonna break this down by couples and only talk about the juicy shit. Otherwise, I'll bore myself, right? So I think
Right? I agree, but before we get into that, I saw a post that was like, ever since Netflix let Chelsea become the casting director, this is what we get. I don't know if you guys remember Chelsea from the previous 2
The
seasons,
blonde.
I think.
Kwame.
Blonde.
Yeah.
with
yeah.
Kwame.
This is who she picked, so.
The caucasity of her.
Good one.
We
I mean, audacity.
Emily. She was definitely keeping it.
She was. If Devin wouldn't been like, yo, conservative, he wouldn't have made it on this show. He was fighting
facts.
to survive and to make
Yeah.
it.
That
get
is
there.
true. All right, let's start because really we're getting the biggest bite of this apple is really got to be Lauren and David. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. I know we all have our thoughts. So pretty much to quickly sum up what's happening, David is still the dick he was on day 1. Nothing has changed. No. It's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of sister talk. It's a lot. So let's just dive into this. Pretty much, Lauren, to sum it up, keeps saying, I'm trying. I'm literally like trying everything I can. And he's pretty much saying, I'm just not getting over it. Then he's kind of blaming her. Then he's taking it back. They go back and forth about, is it really, she's like, if your family, like, respects you, pretty much is what she's saying. Wouldn't they at least give me a shot of meeting me off camera? Kind of like what my dad did, which David has a huge issue with her dad. There's deep beef with that, which we'll get into too. And it ends halfway through these episodes of David saying, I just can't do this. Let's start there, and then we'll go a little deeper. What are your guys' thoughts on what's happening? Is David justified in everything he's saying? Is Lauren justified? What are our thoughts before we even get to the group outing?
I feel like I'm missing a lot because I get families get involved. That's inevitable. But what's the problem? Like your sister, there's something that I'm missing and I just don't
think
get it.
What's going on here is David's a big old bitch.
Oh, shit.
He's a bitch. Either he don't want to get married, or he's such a bitch that his friends are like, nah, you don't marry her. His sister's like, nah, I'm not meeting her. And he doesn't have the balls to tell them, yo, I'm getting married with her, you can meet her or not. He's just sitting here. But I don't think that's it. I think he's just doesn't want to get married to her.
I agree, but I think it's because of what. Well, okay, I don't think he was ever gonna marry her regardless. But the reason he's going with now is that she hooked up with the guy before. Like she hooked up with the guy right before the pods. I don't think it would have been a big enough deal if he didn't know the person.
Yeah, I could see
But
that.
it's like sleeping. It's like you sleeping with one of the homies' homie. It's like it's gonna get around, and it's like, you know, the person. It's a visual representation of what you did right before the pods. Like, I'm not shaming her. Do what you gotta do, girl. But I think because his friends knew the guy or know the guy, and the guy is saying X, Y, and Z, like, oh, we hooked up 2 days before she left. Now she clarified. She said it wasn't 2 days; it was a week.
It was a week.
I don't think it makes too much of a difference that
It
time
doesn't.
frame, 2 days or a week. But I say if she wanted to get her rocks off, get your rocks off, girl. Do what you gotta do. But because he knows the guy, it's just circumstance of it. He knows the guy. Doesn't mean he likes the guy not, but it's hard for him, I think, to shake that visual representation of, okay, she was with this guy. I know this guy. You know, of course, when you get with somebody, they've been with other people, but this is somebody you visually have to kind of. He has now visual, right, of them together, and I don't think he can shake that off. I think it hurts his ego and his pride. And I think he says it like, my ego. I don't think his ego will let him let that go. And that's why he has to.
He's a bitch.
Yeah,
He's
get
a
it,
bitch.
but
First of all, he don't know the guy.
His sister,
Friends
and
of a
his
friends know a guy. His sister's probably
No, he
on
said
this
he-
Facebook group.
he
He's
knows
been
him
in the same room.
indirectly.
Guess what? All these guys are a bunch of bitches. They yap more than fucking old ladies in the nursing home gossiping all day. They yap was like, oh, did you know that they hooked up in the pressure? Shut the fuck up. Like, oh, everybody fucks somebody. Get over it, man. Get over it, dude. You were talking to 2 girls in the pod, so technically you were double dipping in the pod too. Like that we forget about? You were also speaking with Molly the whole time, and then
I think the
it's the
problem
same
is
shit.
He's like riding this celibacy wave, so he's just like, I wasn't fucking. In
Yeah,
my
because he's
head-
a bitch. Nobody want to fuck him, bro. He was always a fuck. No, you were talking to another girl in the pod.
Yeah,
All right,
I
I'll shut
agree. No, I mean,
I think people know how I
I
feel.
understand it might get uncomfortable because it feels very public. You have your sister talking to you that she knows somebody, your friends know somebody, that's the person. But I think you just kind of have to get over it. Like, if you love this person and you know
He
that
don't.
they love you.
He doesn't. He doesn't love her. And I think it's
Exactly.
complicated because people. I'm like, who cares what people say? But I guess his direct best friends are saying like,
Fuck them.
oh, like they know things that they probably shouldn't know if it was just a girl that he met and and now they're together. They know intimate things probably from the other guy. And it's like, it's uncomfortable, I would assume, for somebody to be saying, oh, yeah, I know this guy. He smashed your girl, and he said she was like a 4. Guys talk, right? So I just think his ego, he didn't like her in the first place. I already pegged it, like, early on. He's not getting married to her. Like, the way they were interacting, even on the honeymoon, he had a little remarks here and there. He wasn't as open. I think he was just looking for a way out, and this was the best and
This was
perfect
the-
thing for him to use
Absolutely.
to kind of solidify, oh, well, she did this, she did that, harping on it. I don't think it's as bad as he's trying to make it out to be. She seemed like she genuinely did like him and love him and cared about him. I think she might have been a great wife overall. I mean, but I think he was just looking for an out, and this was the easiest out to give. I think he feels very serious about her. Like, he would have invited his sister and her to meet, whatever, talk off camera, whatever. I just don't think he wanted to be with her.
Yeah, and I mean, from day one, he prefaced for everybody, if my sister doesn't approve, then it's not going to work.
I don't. No, that's not what he did. That's why I continue having a problem. He's like, I love. He in the pod. He's like, I love you. I'm gonna figure out how to make it work so that she can accept. He said he was gonna try.
Exactly.
He's not. He hasn't tried.
And that's what I'm saying. So he already set the stage that it's the sister's word. It's like he values whatever she's going to say. So this, like what Victor's saying, this was the perfect excuse to be like, you're not going to meet my sister. She already hates you because you fucked some guy 2 days ago.
No,
Like-
hold on. You guys keep saying perfect. No, this is a terrible excuse because I don't believe him. I don't believe the excuse either. That's what makes it worse. Like, it's a stupid.
Yeah.
Like you said, guys talk. But do you really see his friends being like, yo, we know she had sex with this guy? He's like, yeah, I know, but I'm going to marry her. You mind meeting her? It's like, If they're his friends, they'd be like, all right, yeah, cool. I'll meet her. And like, they're not going to sit here as like, no, I'm not meeting her. Do you know who she had sex with? Do you really think
No.
that his friend
Ew.
said that?
Ew.
I don't think his friend said that. I think
So he's lying.
I think his friend said something along the lines of, "Yo, she hooked up with this guy, and this guy is saying that they're still together, kind of thing. Like they're still, they hooked up as recently as right before she left. Like things weren't ended or whatever. So I think that's what he was trying to say, and she kind of confirmed it. I didn't cut it off with him, but in her reasoning, it was just a fling. I didn't need to do it. So I get it from her point of view.
Yeah, but wait. But then he's like, he's still contacting you. And then she's like, yeah, because he thinks he can get some. And then he's like, yeah, because you never actually ended it. So he basically caught her in this like.
But
No, I think it's just,
that.
it works
Just
both
do
ways.
it.
I'm sure of like, if he didn't hit her up for a couple of months because they weren't having sex, and then one night he's like, yo, you want to go out? That like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's uncommon in that type of thing where you don't actually
Hit
say,
somebody
hey,
up.
I don't want to be your booty call anymore. Nobody actually talks like that, where it's just like, this friends with benefit thing. No, you let it fizzle out. Like, it would be weird if she's like, we were booty calls, but then I sat him down and said, we can't do this anymore.
I mean, you can't. I mean, you don't have to say it like that.
How would you say it? Like, hey, I don't think we should do this anymore. Like,
I think we need to respect our bodies and not be together anymore.
Here's my thing on that. On both ends of this guy, okay, she goes on the show that potentially she'll get married, comes back and isn't talking to you. That is ending it. Like, you know what kind of show she went on because you're texting the guy. You now know, like, she made a connection. You all are just fucking around. There's nothing serious. That is ending it. Like, all right, you're done. You're in the past now. Sorry. That's what happens. We were never official. You didn't want to make me your girl. I didn't make you my man. This is the game you play. When you play that game, when you don't want commitment or anything, and obviously that was on both ends because, I mean, if you're dating somebody and they go on a show to marry somebody, that is breaking it up. Whether you want it or not, that is breaking it up. And then if I come back out and I didn't make a connection and I'm like, hey, free tonight, want to hang? And you say, yeah, sure, then we keep going. But if I made a connection to the point you're so upset that you got to text his friends that know him to be like, me and her had sex. Make sure you tell him we had sex. We're having sex. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And I don't know.
he's not, this other dude is not really moving like that was his girlfriend.
Nah.
Like,
No,
like
not
the
at
way
all.
he texted her friends, be like, yo, should we break this up? That's like you're joking around. You just having like fun in getting into this pussy bitch dude's head. Like, yo, I'm gonna rattle him for fun. Like this, I know this is like way after the show, but did you guys see that he put out a picture on his Instagram? It's this dude with like a purple background. Huh, I got a purple background too. Like they had on the for the cast. He put himself like a cast member as a joke to say not on the show. It says like not on the show, but it's him smiling like a cast member because of how much they talked about him. That's not a dude moving like, yo, this was my girl and she broke up with me. That's a dude who's just like reveling in his booty call, like getting like unable to escape him. That's like,
But they said it. Like he said it. He said this guy just wants to be on TV. Like he just wants to be recognized. So I mean, obviously he was playing that game to where he hit her up just to be talked about. But it still goes back to Dave didn't want to be with her anyways.
yeah.
And I'm for her, good riddance. You dodged a bullet anyway.
Yeah.
It was the best thing
I
that could
feel-
happen to her.
I peeped day one as soon as Dave said, David, whatever the hell. I have really high standards because I work in medical surgery and I'm used to perfect women. I knew right then and there, this man, he don't got probably friends. He doesn't get girls very easily because he's trying to come off like my standards are this high that women have to meet me up here. And this man, the closest he's ever come to a real relationship is him and his sister. And I'm sorry. Like, that's the only thing, that is the only thing he can relate to. You never hear about past relationships. Yeah. It's like they've never happened. It's like he's never had sex, never had a partner, nothing from what he gives us on the show. It's always about his sister. So what I think is David's friends are not his friends. And they're like, dude, let's make fun of him. This dude always acts like he's hot shit, whatever. Yo, our friend fucked your girl. What? Oh, you gonna keep talking to her? You gonna keep talking to her? They're all playing him, and he's feeding into it. His only friends are probably the guys in the fucking pod. They're the only ones that are probably nice to him in real life. And I'm not even trying to hate on him. You're projecting this personality of some hoity-toity, stuck-up dude. And usually, typically, a lot of people aren't gonna like you. He never was going to like her in the real world anyways, because she's a very down-to-earth. Everything his sister wanted, that's what she is. So that's also confusing to me. So everything your sister said she would be okay with if they're not, somebody who's chasing fame. This girl's not chasing fame. He's the only one trying to chase fame and be on TV and all of these things. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I think he's also throwing his sister under the bus. I don't think his sister is actually like... Mm-hmm. I don't approve. I don't think she takes him seriously. Like when he's like, "Hey, I broke up with my fiance," and she texts back, sad face or crying face, "Let me know if you need to talk." That's her being like, "Yeah, I never took you seriously because I know you're not actually going to follow through with this because you don't follow through with anything regarding women, and so I wasn't going to be dragged into your little dog and pony show." Nah.
Yeah. I think that he knew he wasn't going to be with her, and he orchestrated a lot of this. Not orchestrated, but he left evidence to make him seem like he's the good guy, because we all know how this goes. You're going to get flamed by the internet, but he's saying, "Oh, I told my sister you're the best person I know, I love you, and this and that." And I'm sure he sent these messages to friends and his sister, but I don't think he meant them. I think he just left evidence. He said, "Look, see, reunion. See, I said this to my sister. I said this to my friends. She's the best girl I know. I love her." But like we said before, it all boils down to he wasn't going to be with her. Maybe he looked like he might be the one also looking for some kind of fame as well. So I think that's also part of it. He wanted to become, maybe an eligible bachelor and actually become somewhat of a status he thinks he is by, being known on TV.
Things he said during that argument: "I don't want to waste their time with you."
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Right to her face, he's like, "My family's not the problem. Your family's the problem." When her family met him, yo, he's a little punk because like the dad probably checked him like, "Yo, stop acting like my daughter's a hoe. You're just a little bitch." And he probably got all butthurt about that. The same way he got butthurt because he can't do a fucking cycling class.
Yo.
Stop. This dude is not a serious person.
What I would love in the reunion, before we move on, the last thing I just want to throw out is I would love somebody to straight up, and we know it won't be our host because they suck at hosting, but I would love somebody to straight up ask her at some point, what did you ever see in him that you actually wanted to continue on with him? Like, once you got to the point where he was continuously harassing you about this whole having sex with somebody else and you're not good enough to meet a sister and just this progressive of beating her down, why did you want to continue on? I'm really curious to see what qualities he has are so amazing that she was willing to overlook all of these things.
Actually, I thought you were going to say something different because for once I told Raquel, I actually am looking forward to Lachey. What's her name?
Vanessa.
Nick Lachey.
Vanessa.
Nick, yeah.
Vanessa talking to him and be like, "What's your problem? Because we don't believe you."
So I want to see them bring the guy that she slept with. I want to see this guy that caused all this commotion. I need him to be at reunion. So.
He wants to be there.
Yeah, I don't want him there.
What? Why? What'd he do to you?
Because you're just giving him what he wants.
Yeah. And Dave feeds into it. Why not?
I want good TV. No, I want to see this man who caused all this ruckus, who ripped a whole family apart. I need to see it.
All right, so I think we're kind of all in agreement about how we feel on this. So let's move on. I want to go to the group outing because that'll lead us a little bit further with Lauren and David too. But at the group outing, we got to talk about, before we go any further with them, Molly. Molly comes into the picture. She sees Lauren and she's like, you know what, Lauren, you're my girl. I appreciate how you handled things, how you talked about things, how you talked with me, about me. You're my girl. Screw this guy. And she has a sit down. And we finally get somebody, what we've been dying Lauren to do, but she's too kind of a person. We get it a little bit from Molly. Molly kind of lays some shit down to David. What did you guys think about that interaction?
It needed to be done. It needed to be done. I'm going to get back to that point, but you said earlier, like, his friends are not real good friends. His only friends are the guys in the house. When he sat there and told the guys in the house about the breakup, none of them checked him. Yo, like, they're not your friends either because they don't tell you the truth. Those dudes, they're like, yo, I'm not getting involved. My marriage is good. I'm not even talking. We all prefer Lauren to you anyway. They didn't say shit. Molly was the only one who went in there and dropped the truth bomb on him. That he's an idiot.
I kind of thought the interaction with Molly and him was gonna be a little different, until she talked to Lauren. I thought she was gonna maybe try something with him or try to rekindle, but it was good. It was good that she went in on him. I think he needed that, and he kind of set him straight a little bit in the sense of, he went and talked to Lauren about it after.
Some liquid courage too.
Oh yeah, he was.
he was
slurring. Yeah. My boy was.
My theory is that's why he started getting, because he wasn't that drunk at that meeting. He's still pretty, he's drinking. I think that is when he left that and he was like, oh, fuck this. Like, that girl just dogged me and you have to get fucked up to get through the rest of the night.
Yo, but we forgot to mention, was she the little gossip that she dropped to Lauren? The night that he went out till 3 a.m., yo, that explanation, I was just like, my guy, no, like, I don't even believe you. You were like, we were at this one bar downtown, and she's like, wait, why is your car down? I feel like that bar where he said he was at is not where his car is, and she caught that. Yeah. She's like, oh, where did you go? And he's like, oh, yeah, and then we went to this other place, and Molly was there, which at first was interesting. And then it's like, whoa, it wasn't even Molly we should have been worried about. It was Miss Becky with the good hair over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I peeped through that meeting, and I don't know if I was overreading it because, I'm not a big David fan. He loves talking about being like celibate, not having sex, but he had to make sure to point out to Molly, well, I did have sex with Lauren, other than her. No, really, but I did have sex with her. I almost felt like it was like because he's physically attracted maybe to Molly to be like, see, I could get somebody.
My penis works.
Yeah, like kind of like, to give him like, and in reality, once again, it's like, why is that what you're bringing up? He can never bring up anything about this poor girl. Like, oh, I say she's the best girl. He can't actually name anything like deep. This is why I think it's her morals that she believes this or that. Nothing. It's always surface things. Oh yeah, no, I think she's the greatest girl. Well, all you could talk about was her peeing. You told her to change, once she changes her hair, she'll be better. Like, it's never been anything positive, but then you want to mention having sex with her. Why? I don't know. It just, that rubbed me a little bit the wrong.
Yeah, he's obsessed with people having sex with, like, he's asking everybody. That's weird.
Yeah, he did.
He's a weird guy.
Yeah, he has, and he had to throw that in there. Like, she was asking about, before, this situation, when did you have sex? Been a while. But I mean, like, we had sex, me and her. Like, he had to throw it in there. Like, that wasn't what she was asking you. Nobody cares what you did with her. You're potentially going to marry this girl. Sure, have sex. Nobody cares. But I just wanted to point that out.
No, that's very interesting because there's two things there. One is, on the trip, he's on this. He's like, I've been celibate for a while and things like that. But on the trip, he obviously wanted to know when they were going to have sex. Like, he was like looking forward to that in like a odd way, because when it didn't happen on the first night, he went and asked everybody else, "Did you guys have sex?" Because so he wanted her to be quick with him. But the fact that she was with somebody else 2 days before the experiment, that's too close. So which one is it? Because if it like, you don't want her to be having sex recently, but unless it's with you, like I don't get that. And then the second thing, I forgot. It doesn't matter. I'm just like, I'm trying to there of why he's so obsessed with it. But no, the second thing I remember is the way he puts like his celibacy is because I feel like he mentioned it like he's trying to be, look for something deeper, something more. That's why he did the experiment to get married. But he said it multiple times, like he'll go out and there's girls all over him. And this happened again there. So if I'm going to take that as truth, it's not that you're not looking for women and maybe you're just deciding not to sleep with them, but you're still going out there flirting. Where's this like introspective journey of looking for something deeper if you're out here like still sort of thotting it up? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, but it definitely feels.
I also think he's lying about not having sex, but whatever.
He's totally lying, but it's a weird like way to try to assert power or try to like demand power over somebody. Is by like talking about how much sex you're not having. But it's doing the exact opposite. It's just like, you look like a big fat pussy right now. You don't look like no man. Especially, it's weird to talk about all the sex you're not having in the same sentence you're talking about your sister. So maybe that's why you're not having sex.
He's not hitting because when a girl's flirting and like trying to get into him and then he brings up his sister, it's like
forget it.
Yeah, I gotta go home. I have work actually. I'm sorry. I gotta go. Like, it just starts getting weird. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Like, I don't know. Sorry, David.
You know what I'm looking for in a partner is someone that my sister likes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what everyone wants to hear.
He's probably more like somebody just like my sister. That's what I like.
Listen.
Look, I don't know. I feel bad David's sister, if you're out there. If this is all him. I feel bad that you're
Don't
being
be. I want him for myself.
He's yours, girl. Ain't nobody else want him. Ain't nobody else want him. Yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, that was just a little thing between that little conversation. He then goes back, and we'll get to some of the other people. I just want to finish up with them, but we'll get back into the group meeting. He then gets wasted. He is struggling to finish words. And starts talking to Lauren again because he was read to filth and now he regrets it. He wants to go home and just hug her. And he feels bad. He starts telling her all these things. You can tell Lauren is eating it up for whatever damn reason. Once again, I'm confused. This man has belittled you. And to me, it's like he berated her. To me, what he did to her was just constant, like, punch. In any way she would try to come in a respectful, calm way, it was like another punch, another dig. Now let me insult your father. Let me insult you. Let me insult anything I can about you. Break you down. And now, I'm sorry. I really like you.
Well, you know why
Like,
he went back to her because his sister didn't give him the time of day. She was like, deal with it on your own. Bye.
yeah.
And,
All right. Now that we kind of summed up Lauren and David, I'm not really sure. It seems like they're going to end up maybe going to the altar. I can't really tell. We're kind of left, I think, I don't know, maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly, like a cliffhanger. Like, he's saying he wants to fix it. So I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see a wedding of theirs or not. I don't see a point to it, but I don't know.
It seems like
so.
they made, no? I feel like, yes. It seems like they made up the last, few minutes we saw of them together. They were kissing and hugging. And
He was just drunk. They kissed?
they,
Well, like side
Yeah.
side hugged and little.
No, I think he was just drunk. He was just saying shit because he was drunk. I don't see them. It's too much. Too much has happened, and he's not gonna shake that off. It's just not. It's not happening.
I think he's already betrothed to his sister.
Could be.
All right. Well, let's get on to the next, I guess, couple that comes into the party. Mason and Meg. They come in holding hands. Giddy as can be. They are happy.
I called it.
Yeah, we knew this was going to happen. Like, she tried to seem all tough, like, I'm not going to be a second, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I think that was just for TV. She didn't want to get backlash for, being engaged to somebody who chose her second. But what's the first thing she did? She went to his DMs. So, you still look thirsty.
Yeah.
Listen, if she's happy, she's happy. Let her make the choices that make her happy.
But be authentic. Don't give me this bullshit of, like, with your black scent trying
In
to seem
her
all...
defense, she likes some periods. She's like, girl, I went straight to the DMs. I was creeping. I was tweaking.
I'm done.
They do look cute together.
I think she should have just finished the experience. I think she should have just finished it, and she would have had her wedding paid for and a ring paid for as well.
Listen, at least go to Honduras with somebody you like and want to sleep with and like have a free vacation and then be like,
Honestly.
yeah, I was never going to get married to you.
My thing
What's Love is
like,
Blind going to do is like, no, you must get married now.
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to do? Sue
They were
you?
almost what seemed to be
I'll
the
sue
most
them for not feeding me.
compatible.
Yeah.
No, they feed them now. You feed them now.
They
are
overfed me.
fed.
I got diabetes because of Love is Blind. They made me eat all the food or else. Oh, man.
I don't know. That I think the only reason she broke up with him is I think Madison got in her head in some way. She wanted to prove, like, I don't know. It was stupid on her part. She should have done it. They had a lot of compatibility. Shit, do the experiment, like the experience. You're gonna literally head to the airport and start trying to find this man? It makes no sense to me, but whatever. Do you. I'm glad to see him giving it a shot. Why the hell not? I mean, they seemed like they actually would. They had a lot of common interests that was weird. I mean, like, I know we joke about the other couple and the whole seeing her on Instagram, but like how they both talked about the movie Her. I like that movie. It's interesting and weird, but not a lot of people have seen it. So when they both kind of like that's my favorite movie, and he had already said that to somebody else, so we knew he wasn't lying, and she said it, like, I don't know, maybe that person told her, I don't know, but it just seemed like they were on a lot of the same wavelength. So I'm glad to see them personally kind of giving it a try.
It fits with the theme of Love is Blind because, we want to clown people about like being desperate to like try anything to find love. But it's just, I think, another wrinkle in the human experience of how people just make connections. So it's like there's no one right way to do this journey. And if this is the right way for some people, great. And it's not going to be the right way for a lot of people. But, it is what it is. And that's why it was interesting that they both like her, because two people who love the movie Her being on Love is Blind makes a lot of sense. So.
Two
That's
lonely ass people.
Because my favorite thing about Megan and Mason getting together is Madison being all butthurt in the corner like,
Yo, can we talk about how all the lies that it seemed like she was lying. It seemed like every sentence was a lie, and when it didn't land, she just grabbed another sentence that was a lie from her toolbox. She was like, oh, that doesn't work. Well, guess what? He also did this. It just felt very childish to me. Like, get the fuck over it. She's got real issues.
Yeah.
She's on the wrong show.
Yeah.
I told you guys, her and Alex are the two villains of this season. Alex.
And spoiler alert, they don't end up together. They don't.
He's too old for her. She's too old for him.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah, you gotta say allegedly, babe.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
You know.
Yeah, I don't know. We were about to go through a whole nother trauma dumping with Madison telling Lauren everything about Alex and the airport and him saying, "You're just so beautiful. You're just so gorgeous. You're just so beautiful."
He
And
probably said she was cute, and then she just embellished the shit out of the story.
I definitely think it was the biggest shocker to her to go through the season and not one of those men fawning over her. Even walking into that room, you can see she thought one of those husbands would turn their head and be like, "Oh, Matt, they could give a shit about you, girl. Nobody, the news is out. You trauma dump, you freak men out. Sorry." It's just what it is. Looks sometimes, and they can take you very far. You are a very pretty girl. But I think you're so cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs that these men are like, "Oh, hell, don't even look at her." Like, I don't even, like, scared to, like, look at
I
her
want to
direction
catch
or
the
get close.
crazies.
Yeah, and, like, what you'll have to pay the price, you know? So, I don't know if we need to go into much detail. If there's anything you guys want to talk about the Alex and Madison shit, just basically, it ain't working. They hate each other in the end. Is what it comes across.
Yeah, I don't see anything happening. Like, it was just weird. Like, I don't know. I thought at the beginning she was definitely gonna be like on the show, like long term, but something happened. I think Alex recognized her crazy, just wasn't it. But then he still hooked up with her after. I don't know how true the story is with that because he didn't validate anything or say anything. Maybe they hooked up once and that was it. I don't know.
Do you think they edited the episode because they showed him walk in and then they didn't show anything after that, like any conversations? Do you think they went back and be like, let's if we could remove him completely, we would, but we kind of want the story that Madison says.
Yeah, because of his drama outside of the show. I think so. They didn't want to give him much more to share on. Which even makes it weirder that Madison's so pressed about this man not liking her, even though she doesn't want to admit it, but it's clear as day. She's pressed that this man isn't, like, fawning over her. And, like, by now you know the allegations. Like, things had already started coming out, I'm sure. And you're still, like, I don't know, girl.
But maybe not by that time she's there.
Maybe.
Oh, that's true. That's a while.
Maybe.
This is shot like a year ago.
I mean, she's gonna have a field day if they invite her to the reunion.
Oh man, 100%.
Yeah.
They have to invite her. She's gonna be in there, just for the drama.
You never
factor
know.
of it
Sometimes
all.
the reunions do flop, so I'm not gonna hold my breath for anything just yet. Because sometimes we're like, "What the hell? You guys didn't talk about this or bring these people," but we'll see.
I have hopes just because they brought back that big dude who Megan Fox didn't choose just to read him too, and props to him for doing it. So I think maybe they consider it.
Yeah.
Not Alex. I don't think they want him near, but to bring Madison just to talk shit.
Hopefully, this reunion. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No.
I was gonna say, hopefully, this reunion is not like last reunion where they brought all these audience people that we don't really care about, the parents and grandmas, and that was weird. I don't want to see that again.
Nobody cares. Yeah.
Just the sister. Dave's sister has to come.
They brought Leo and Brandy last season, even though they dated and didn't be on the show. So hopefully they bring Megan and Mason back to see if maybe they stuck it out.
Yeah.
Or not. If they didn't, I want to hear that more too.
Me too. What went wrong, or I think the next couple we should start talking about and kind of go over. I'm going to say Virginia and Devin. There's a lot happening with this couple. Even though when you're watching them, it might be the most boring thing. Because the way they talk to each other, it seems like there's absolutely no connection. Nothing's happening. But in reality, they act like they're the most in love couple. They're the most solid couple. People, I think, kind of view it that way too, that they're very solid and in love. Brittany, says she only sees them as the only genuine couple at that group reunion thing. But there's a lot to kind of unpack, and I'm curious to see your guys' opinion. We got to meet his family, we got to meet her mom. So what are your guys' thoughts between these?
I don't think they're going to go that far. I think, like you're mentioning, there's no real deep conversations. And I just find the relationship very forced. It's kind of like they don't even argue. Like they sort of have a disagreement, but then it's kind of like we don't see the end of it. We don't see where it goes. I find her demeanor to be borderline condescending. She's just like, okay, with her big ass eyelashes. Do you have any questions? Like, he clearly said 5 times that he wants to take a minute to like read this prenup, and she's still on top of him. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Yeah. When they're lying in bed and she's trying to get somewhere. Anything else that you want to talk about? Anything else? And he's just
I'm
like,
just trying to get to the sex. Let's go turn out the lights.
And it's just like, just ask the fucking question. Are you MAGA or not? Like, that's really where you're trying to get at. Mm-hmm. But no, she has to like beat around the whole bush in this like soft spoken. I don't know. I find it very condescending because you can't give me the respect to just ask me straight up. You want to like you're trying to bait me into a conversation I don't want to have. Get the fuck out of here. It's just too much.
But he's the same way too. He's all he has to they're the same. They're both like passive aggressive. All he has to be is like, I want to show it to my mom and my lawyer. I'm not going to sign it right now. I'm going to show it to my mom and lawyer. I don't know what this is. Like, I'm a basketball player. Like, I don't know contracts. Why would I sign something that's all he had to say, but he doesn't like just step up and say it. Same thing is like if you're a Republican or your daddy's a Republican, just stay up and say it with your chest. But are you afraid to lose her, or because that's not genuine, or are you afraid of her? Just period. Like
I think he's afraid of her. I think he's so afraid of her. And then even the conversation after he ended up talking to the lawyer and signing it, he's like, "See, I told you it was nothing. It was nothing." Like
it was nothing. You're right.
Like she's like hypnotizing him. I told you it was nothing. It was nothing. You're right. It was nothing. Like he never really gave it to his lawyer, but she hypnotized him. You gave it to your lawyer, right? Yes, my lawyer and mom looked at it. It's very good. Meanwhile, saying I take all your shit when we get married.
It's very surface level from what the producers have shown us. I don't know. I don't see this.
I did peep. I was telling Nora, I was like, oh, my boy 100% conservative. When she was talking and he was looking at her, he was like, like he disagreed with so much in his head, but he didn't want to say it because, trying to get to the sex, as Eric said.
But this is where you got to talk.
Yeah, I agree. You got to talk about it.
This is important.
It comes up with other couples too, but politics play a role in a lot of these, especially Minnesota or Minneapolis. Where they at? I don't know. Fuck where.
I think Minneapolis is in Minnesota.
There we go.
Yeah.
So
I've explained that to him like 3 times. He's like, no, it's Minneapolis, and I'm like, Minnesota is the state.
Don't even tell him there's a twin city.
There's 2 of them. Well, I believe it because they're all the same people over there. Just anyway, but obviously there's things that they disagree on, and which could be healthy. But I don't think he wants to disagree with her, and I think that's what the problem is. He wants to seem like everything is nice, everything is cool. But if you're gonna have disagreements, have them now, so you don't have them later on and be like, "Oh yeah, I am not voting for who you're voting for." Mm-hmm. And she already said that might be a problem. And I'm like, my guy could just lie to you and say, "Oh yeah, I voted for this guy or whoever." Like she'll never know. So I'm like, but also just what they align with, and if they don't align with the same thing in values, then they need to have that discussion and figure that out.
I just didn't like that she was trying to have it when they were both clearly tired. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you want to have a good, productive conversation, let the man go to bed. The fact that he's sitting there with his arms crossed, like body language one-on-one, and you're in healthcare, like body language should be your thing.
You're a doctor.
Not. She's a doctor. I'm not trying to talk shit, but like, I think this goes for anybody in the world. Like, just read the body language before you listen to the words of the person. It's just like, he doesn't want to talk right now. Just let it go.
But I thought that's also Love is Blind too, because the cameras are there. Is like, yo,
They
you
have
need
to
something.
talk. Right?
You guys have to
Yeah.
talk. Something's gonna be talked about.
But it's
My
also a
thing-
theme, a reoccurring theme, is that they're doing these conversations at a time where it seems like the guys are like mentally exhausted, and you can physically tell. I sent you the screenshot of the guy. That was him like trying to like stay alive during the conversation, trying to have.
He was trying to get to. It's like, we have a nice outdoor bed. Can we just get to the sex?
I'm crying.
I think
A sex outdoors hit different.
that can solve any politics or religion issues. That's where everybody can come together, just in bed. There you go.
No pun intended. No pun intended.
I think Virginia and Devin struggle with something I have the complete opposite of, is avoidant personality. I am more combative. I am more abrasive. I don't understand avoidance. And that's all you see them bouncing. I think they are both extremely avoidant. They want to talk about something, but as soon as they see the other one might not be on board, she definitely passive aggressively tries to like, and he typically, almost on every topic, tries to find a way to agree, except one topic. And I don't know if you guys peeped it, but it was probably the funniest part of the whole thing to me. Their avoidant argument, is when she's saying, typically black people vote Democratic. And he goes, my daddy's black. Like, pissed. He was straight face pissed. He was like, oh, hell no. Like, my daddy black and he vote conservative. Like, so that was probably the only time I saw him
hilarious.
actually
I
take a clear stance on one fucking thing. Is his daddy is black and has voted conservative. So there's no question about that.
Here's the thing. That's the one time where I was like to her, is like, yo, I was with you until the very end there, and it's like you took it a little too far. And that's the one time he's like, oh, I'm gonna puff my chest out. 'Cause I gotta defend my daddy's honor.
The one thing. But I was just like, all right. But I mean, and that's the question me and Victor kind of were going over. I know we've talked about religion, but I want to talk about politics. Do we think, and I would love our viewers to pipe in on this, do we think when it comes to politics, a couple going into marriage, not even an established marriage, going into possibly being married, can be on two different spectrums of politics? And is it okay to go into a marriage not really exactly knowing where you stand on politics? Or is this something that needs to be like hashed out? We need to have clear boundaries on which way you're going, and is it okay or not okay? I'm curious what you guys think.
So I think pre-2016, you could have gone into a marriage with someone with different political views and still been okay. I think post-2016, you're not just voting for a party. It's like a representation of... It's a representation of a lot of different things, and it's like...
I'm voting for Jill Stein. I'm so different.
Hey, listen, we gotta talk. But
I know Raquel almost
I'm gonna
left
write
me.
in.
Raquel almost left me because I went to Target the other day. She was like, "You support
Bro.
Target?"
I was pissed. No, I was
just
pissed.
getting hamburger buns, bro. It was on the way.
No, but like in all seriousness, it's like who you vote for, and if you believe in like all of their policies, it says a lot about like what you stand for. And I don't know, in this day and age, in this political climate, it's like, it's clearly, there's no gray area. It's super black and white to me.
Where did the Latinos stand?
I might have a little different of opinion. So I'm curious though, first, I want to hear you guys, and then I might rile up the internet a little bit. We'll see. No,
I agree
you
with
two are
whatever
gonna-
my wife says.
No, don't.
They're both gonna sit silent and let us answer and just be like, yeah, what she said.
I agree with whatever my wife said.
I don't think there's a
one,
right
good
or
one.
wrong. These are opinion
No.
based. I mean, like, we don't know. Shit.
Watch all the comments that he's just trying to get to the sex. I sort of agree with that. And it's become so all in or nothing, or like so divisive on a lot of the issues. I mean, back in the day, like you would have the Democrats who were pro-life, and you have Republicans who were pro-choice. Like it was a little more, but now it's so black and white, and everything, like, you know, like the joke, but everything is so divided that it's just like his family being conservative says something there that, you know, she obviously believes in pro-choice, and he wants to be like, we don't. And it's like, you have to understand those things before marriage, because you may get into marriage and you may get to a situation where you have to make that choice. And what did you guys agree on?
But here's the thing, like, this is where it gets tricky, because it's like, it's not just about the person who you're voting for. Like, there's all these little issues. So, like, how to explain this? So, like you mentioned, some Democrats are pro-life. Great.
I was saying back in the day. Back in the day. Now it's like everything's
all or nothing.
so all or nothing on either side that it's just like.
So then maybe the question to start isn't like, who are you voting for? It's like, how do you feel about all these issues that are important to me? And don't even ask who you vote for. Just say, how do you feel about immigration? How do you feel about abortion? How do you feel about egg prices? How do you feel about all of this? And then make a decision that way.
How do you feel about egg prices, and how do you feel about abortion? Yo, Brian, this shit is crazy.
I'm just thinking about the topics that were on the presidential debates. Okay.
No, about eating dogs. No, but the thing is,
eggs.
that's how strong it is. Which ones? I'm so confused. That's what's crazy about it now, where he's like, my family's more conservative. It tells you everything you need to know now, which it wasn't in the past.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be that way, right? It shouldn't be that way.
It's not my fault.
No, I'm not.
Fucking Eric.
My bad.
Victor?
I think I agree with you in the sense of you should ask, what do you believe in these opinions? I think politics now have become so divisive, and I believe personally it's intentional. I believe it's better to divide people than to unite them. At the end of the day, we're all Americans and we all have beliefs. I don't trust politics at all. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican. I think they're all incredibly crooked on both sides. They're all there feeding their pockets. You can just check and see who had 100,000, 200,000 before they went into office, who has millions of dollars after being in office. Both sides are crooked. I've done a lot of research in terms of just the history of the country. I'm not going to go into the rabbit hole now, but there is a lot that is meant to divide people, and I think this is part of it. And going, just exactly what you see with, Virginia and Devin, they're being divided, and I'm pretty sure they might have a lot of the same core values, but maybe because his parents are traditionally conservative, or are traditionally Democrats. Back then, they're completely different than they are now. I think both parties now are completely different, and their identities are completely different than what they used to be. My grandma loved Clinton, loved him to the core, sung his praises, and he did a lot of great, but he also did a lot of wrong. And, and that's for both sides. So I think politics now have become such a point of contention for a lot of couples, because they feel like they need to be 100% this or 100% that. Or if you believe this, then that means you don't believe in that. And I feel like as people, we're completely complex people. We have different levels to us. So we can have our thoughts on this and not have our thoughts on that. And just because you vote one way or the other doesn't mean you're 100% with them or 100% against them, So I think...
But can you be married to somebody? It's different friends. Friends can probably get along.
I think it depends on the people. I think if you are somebody that is so... Because I've seen people that are so, invested in politics, but to me, it's a lot of it surface level, because there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand about politics that's extremely deep, and I'm not
like Devin
saying Like Devin.
Yeah.
I don't
Do you
think
really
Devin
think
knows
he's-
shit. I don't think Devin knows anything except that
Yeah.
his daddy, his grandpappy was Republican.
Grandpappy.
I don't. But at the same time, I don't think Virginia knows shit either. I don't think she knows anything other than black people only vote Democrats. And I think Nas and
That
Jay
was
Z
a pretty bad
would
one.
disagree
I
with that.
thought black people didn't vote, so that was a surprise to me.
So yeah, so I think can you do that and get married? I think you can. But I think it depends on the people and
How deep you are in it.
how deep you are in it. What is your core beliefs? I think it just depends on the people. If you're two people that it seems that we have in the season, like Virginia and Sarah, I believe her name is. Yeah, Sarah.
Yeah.
They all in, and they don't seem like they're willing to listen to the other side and see like, okay, well, what are your actual beliefs? Which is the question Raquel said they should be asking, like, what do you actually believe in? And I think it's more like it needs to be this or that, or if it's not this, then it's not that.
And that's like a weird feeling I'm having for Devin and Ben, which is they're not being totally upfront with how they feel about some of these things. Or maybe they're not asking themselves about how they feel with that about these things because they want the marriage and the relationship to work.
I think
And I guess just the last thing to say, I think to Nora's point is that the right thing to do? Is it a good thing that they're like trying to compromise, even if they're compromising a little bit of themselves or they're trying to change themselves? Or should you be sticking to who you are because you're going to regret it if you don't?
So I think Ben and Devin, for me, it's two totally different things. Like Devin is talking strictly from tradition, from like family, what has been instilled with him through his generation. Ben just doesn't know how to talk about the topics that Sarah is passionate about. So it's not.
I'm actually talking about something different. I'm flipping it around. He is going to marry someone who is not religious. And
talk about religion.
And we can jump to them, Ben and Sarah. She does not want to go to church.
Yeah.
Point blank. You saw her, she looked miserable.
We're still,
I think we'll start. Well, I say we don't confuse the two because it'll start getting quickly down a rabbit hole. So I say we wait on Sarah and Ben and religion because that's a whole nother. We'll get there. I think we need to deep dive that one too.
I want to hear your response to the question you posed.
So I have a little bit of a different opinion. I have for a long time of my life been a big supporter. I grew up in a very democratic family. I would have died on that hill fighting people in that sense with not knowing a lot. Mm-hmm. I now take a much different approach in the sense of no matter what side I may believe or whatever, whether it's still be democratic, whatever, loving a politician or whatever it is, I no longer feel for either party of being of status to care to talk to people and argue with people about anymore. I was told at one point the reason people shouldn't vote a certain way is because if you care about people, you couldn't vote this way. And not to make it personal, and if it gets too personal, we can cut it out. But being somebody from my background, my history, my culture, neither party gives a fuck about my people. So if we're voting a certain way because you have to care about somebody, that tells me everybody I know doesn't care about my people because they're voting one way or another and they both will kill my people. They don't give a shit. It changed my mindset and a lot. So it started making me think, and moving to Texas, as crazy as it is, and meeting conservative people who are now with liberal people because it's a melting pot, and seeing couples that are now divided but somehow married and making it work. And I don't know. I don't know how they really do it on a deeper level because I'm not in their marriage, but I can kind of see it. Whereas before, I would have been so closed off to that, thinking that that could never work in a million years because that's how I was raised. Like, my family is very all-American in the sense of, like, union workers and things like that, so it is important to me. I've always been a big activist for a lot of, minority groups, for the LGBTQ plus now. We have the little plus. So it's hard for me. I struggle with that. So I think, but that's a personal struggle just because, and And I'm not trying to make it like, oh, pity us or whatever, you know, but it's really changed my mindset. And the last, like you said, years ago, it was different. You could kind of look at both parties and see certain people feel this way, that way. And now you have to have a dividing line. And I'm like, I will not stand up for either side because what's the point? Like, and that's how I view it. And I don't know. So I can kind of see now, and I don't know if that's me maturing or growing up. I don't know that I don't have to be angry about it. Like, it's just at the end, and I guess that's me and Victor, you know, he researches it a lot more than I do because I'm like, what's the point? Like, these people don't care. None of them care about any of us, unfortunately. And yes, it's the topics at hand. That's what we're voting for. And that I can't agree on. It's these big topics that we want to protect and these things we want to protect. So I can agree on that. But overall, these people don't give a shit about us. So in that sense, I'm like, yes, to me, it needs to be somewhat laid out before marriage. You kind of have to have an understanding because there are those big topics that we're voting on that we need to kind of know, hey, where do you lie morally, ethically? Where does it kind of stand? Okay, and why do you feel that way? Like you said, Raquel, like, we need to be asking these deeper questions. So I don't know. I think weirdly enough, moving to, well, Houston's not conservative, it's Democratic, but moving to a conservative state has helped me open my eyes a little bit more to things and meeting people who are more conservative, but with a very open mindset, which I never was ever exposed to living in Chicago. You know, some of my closest friends grew up in very conservative families, and they are the most loving, kind, would help anyone. It's just kind of, like we said, you kind of grow up with these traditions of what your family does, so you kind of do it too, and then you get older and you start getting more exposed to things. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if it's a hill to die on for me anymore. If somebody was like, if Victor was like, I vote this way or that way, or I don't vote, would probably upset me more. Even that sounds weird just because I come from a first generation. My dad was an immigrant and fought his ass off to get to this country. And I just was lucky enough to be born in a country where I get to vote as a woman. I have family who will never get to vote. I have family I'll never get to meet because of my background and my culture. So I don't know. Not to make it too deep, but that's, I don't know.
But yeah, so I guess the question there I would ask Devin, because point blank, he started out one way where he's like, my family's conservative. And then when pressed by Virginia says like, well, would you be, I guess she didn't say it like this, but like, I'm pro-choice. Would you agree with that? And he said, yes. I'm just like very curious. Does that mean you just changed your mind, or you were thinking about changing your mind? Or did you just say yes so you can get married? And then when actually push come to shove, you know, what does it mean to him to be conservative?
Yeah.
What does it mean to him to be pro-life or pro-choice?
Exactly.
Like,
I think those are the...
ask yourself that question before you answer
Yeah.
to her if you're not sure.
Yeah, I mean, to Victor's point, like, we are multifaceted. Like, to put a label on someone and say, I'm conservative, therefore I don't believe in abortion, I don't believe in this and that. It's like, you can still be conservative and, like, believe in pro-life, or just, like, take the labels off of it. You know, I'm just saying, babe.
No. Because you said something that sparked my mind there.
Yeah.
He's conservative until it comes... conservative values is man goes to work, makes the money, comes home, and provides for the wife. But they were all around that table saying, will you pay the bills if he loses his job or if he gets hurt and he can't coach basketball? Oh, then we're progressive. The wife can make all the money. You got homeboy over here asking, hey, you going to take care of his parents with your money? Who the fuck are you? I just met you, man. You're asking me if they can move in with me.
That shit.
That was crazy.
That was
crazy.
bonkers,
So
that
you're-
whole conversation.
Is that progressive or is that... I don't know. Like, it's all over the place. I don't
It
even
is.
know.
Yeah.
It really is.
I think
Yeah.
it's really hard when we get into those topics that I'm like, shit. But there are things that it's like, no, I need a deeper conversation talking about pro-life. And I understood where he was trying to go with it, but he can't even, like, stand on that hill. Like, like the whole,
can't.
well, you know, if it was both of you who chose, like, in a consenting way to lay down, and I want the baby as a man, kinda, say it with your chest
No,
if that's
sir.
what you believe. Like, if that's what you believe, go ahead, say it. You have a right to feel however you want. but you need to talk about it because these topics are gonna get deeper and you're gonna have to talk about these more. Like,
This shit, that pissed me the fuck off, because this is why men should not be talking about abortion. Because you are implying that consent is part of sex every single fucking time. Like, no, it doesn't happen. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like the privilege to be like consenting adults. No. Say that
But
to the...
what if he
Wait.
meant that? What if he meant
I missed that.
to?
No.
I don't think he was thinking about the whole,
The world, the girls that could get knocked
I don't
up
think
without...
he.
I don't
can
want to get. I
go
don't want
that
to
far.
get the.
I don't think. Yeah. I don't think he's that.
Sorry.
I don't think he's that deep. Unfortunately, not trying to knock you, Devin. I don't think he can go that far. I think he's just thinking like,
Their little family.
yeah. I don't think he's worldly enough. Is that mean to say? I don't know. I'm not trying
No.
to be offensive, but like, I don't think he has that level of understanding of these topics. You know, I think he just was like, well, if you got pregnant and you were gonna try to abort my baby, I would hope you like
Yeah.
listen to me.
Like,
Like,
ask
I think
first,
that's
yeah.
where his
Yeah,
head.
I think I
which-
agree.
Okay,
Which is
I mean,
something you could talk about together to know. It's like, yo, we're
Yes.
getting married.
Yeah.
We're gonna, yeah. But to your point, Nora, about being worldly, somebody who called him out on that and called him immature was Brittany when they met up. And I kind of was like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like in between, where it's like, yeah, sure, knowing what we know of him now, part of that's right. Also, when you told him you were bi and he wasn't with it, I think we all were here kind of like, like, yeah, but you kind of like, it's a spectrum, and part of that spectrum is you're a little more weighted to one side of the bi than the other. It seemed like, and maybe he didn't rock with that. Like,
well, we're all a little bit gay. Like,
I love how she said that. She's like, "We're a little bit gay." He's like, what?
yeah,
And she's like, I'm just all the way there, kinda.
like, I don't know. Girl, live your
I don't
best
know.
life, Brittany. But I don't know. I don't want to make it that deep, but I feel like these are certain topics that we should get more comfortable as a whole, as a society. Like Victor said, it shouldn't necessarily divide us. And I think there are things that as a couple you need to discuss, because there are big hitting issues that lie within politics, or what we're going to get to, religion, that you need to really like, hey, are we going to be on the same page? Are you open to certain things? Are you not really sure? So, you know, maybe you don't know enough, and that's okay too, to say, hey, I really just honestly don't know enough about the topic to give a fair response yet. I need to do my own research and really look into things to really like figure out a definitive answer on some of these topics, you know, because when it comes to politics, there's a bunch of shit that like, I don't know, maybe not the big issues, but some of the smaller shit that I'm like, I don't really know. I don't know how that affects us.
I think Love is Blind has to be better at prompting these conversations. If they're gonna fucking waste my time with somebody and be like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I just saw this on social media, I haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're lying. At least have them as like, let's have this natural conversation about abortion rights.
Yeah.
Like actually make them have those conversations that we actually want to see, not all these other fucking boring ass.
The only topic we see
Damn.
on a religiously, not actually meaning religious, but like on a schedule, is the topic of sex compatibility. It's always in the pods. They're more than happy to be very clear about that. But when we start talking about abortions and religion, everybody's kind of like hemming and hawing, which I also thought was very funny, like of our society. Like, that's what we'll stand on. Let's talk about sex. We're cool with that. We're very open about that. Let's all talk about it, and we can be open and cool with it. But if we're going to talk about some big issues, nah, we can't do that on TV. Like, but
Netflix
nonetheless.
not trying to hear that.
yeah, let's move on to another big hitter, because we're already kind of talking about it. Sarah and Ben, we know it's the religion and I guess the LGBTQ plus community. I guess that kind of backs behind this to do with religion, because that's kind of where it seems, unless I'm interpreting wrong, Sarah struggles with the whole religious aspect of this, is that, you know, her sister technically, who's, you know, rightfully so, is her best friend, and she feels she wouldn't be accepted in the church, or the church wouldn't accept her, and that turns her away from church. What do we think about this couple and how they're navigating to marriage?
I like Ben. I like Ben.
I do too.
He's so nice and goofy, and I think he is accepting. I believe him. He hasn't shown me otherwise that he has people with that who are his friends, as he likes to say it. He was totally cool and happy with hers. By the way, I'm confused. Is Sarah's sister the blonde or the brown-haired?
The blonde.
Okay, because her sister-in-law is very vocal, which I'm cool with. It's nice that they're that close, but I wasn't sure. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Okay, you're really part of the family.
Yeah.
But I like Ben. I'm sorry.
I know. I hate myself sometimes when I say it. I'm like, why do I kind of like him? Why am I like okay with him? Normally I would hate somebody like him.
All I know, my guy was setting things up. He summoned the Avengers of Friends to please Sarah. He was having all the races on lock. He was getting all the orientations. You know, he was.
He's like an Asian friend, gay friend, all the Infinity Stones.
Oh, this guy did it. I said, you couldn't have assembled a better cast of friends to show her how diverse and inclusive you are. Bravo, Ben. Bravo.
And it's still not enough for her. It's not enough for her.
It wasn't. She wants him to fully, like, I don't know what she wants. Run out in pride outfits for her. Like, I don't know.
But I feel like
I don't know what more he could do.
I feel like he would. I feel like
he would.
I think Ben would go to Pride. He would go to Pride and
he said it. He said he would.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, he said it multiple times. He said it in the pod that he would go to Pride. He has no problem. And she's still, like, asking him. It's what
It's
what
because
else does she want?
she knows deep down there's bullshit. She knows it deep down. Like, something's not right with Ben. Deep
She
down.
was like, would you suck this dick? Show me now. And he's like, if this is what you need. Like, but like, for all the stuff, like, would you do this? Would you do that? He's like, hey, come to service with me once a week. She's like, maybe once a year.
Like,
For holidays.
If it's Christmas again.
I was like, Ben, you deserve better. Leave her.
Yeah,
I don't know.
he does.
I see Ben as somebody that's very religious, and, you know, I had this conversation with Nora. I was like, if somebody doesn't want to be part of my religion, I was like, there's no point in being together, because if I spend a majority of my Sundays and my belief and my faith is in that, I want to share it with you. I want our house to have that. I want my kids to be able to go. I don't want a household where dad's at home, you know, and mom's at church with the kids and dad's at home watching the game. I want everybody to be at church together. And I think Ben wants that too. And I don't think Sarah's going to give that to him, because she already, or maybe it's just not that church. If it's a different church, maybe she would. But she already said she's not a religious person, and she made it clear. And I think, and Ben is, and I think that is going to be divisive. If it's if it's later.
I'm surprised that neither of them, like, that was a deal breaker for them. Like, her not being religious, dating somebody who is, like, I don't see how she thinks that could ever work. Because, again, like, to your point, it's like, when you have kids, what are you going to do? Yeah.
That's what I was getting at before with, you know, is Devin going to be expected to change his views to match Virginia's just for the relationship? Or I think it's the same thing. She's saying, well, can you find a church that's more inclusive?
He shouldn't have to.
But I guess my question is like, is that really going to make her happy? Is that going to make her want to go? Or is she just not religious? Is she just wants to, he'll change church, find a new home, and then she still will only want to go once or twice a year?
I don't think she's religious, because if she was, she would have found that church already.
That's what I was thinking.
She had more than enough time. I just don't think she's not religious. And that's fine, but I don't think that's what Ben wants.
I'm torn on it. I don't know if this is even her thoughts. I feel like she's so, like, if she were to ever say, like, oh, I'm going to go try to experience a kind of church, that sister-in-law is going to be like, so you hate gay people now. So you Fuck gay people, huh? Just go to church and fuck us all. That's how I feel like that girl would be. 100%.
You're not wrong on that. She came on kind of intense.
She is rough around every edge, and that's okay, girl. Be you. Stand on your hills. But it's like, I don't even know if she knows if she would be open to things, because I don't think she has the brain width to actually try to be open to experience things. She wants to talk like a very woke type of person, using Gen Z's, word here. A very woke person. She knows about George Floyd and that whole thing. But when it really comes down to stuff, she's very small-minded when you really start hearing her talk, because like we've talked about in the past, her understanding of Black Lives Matters is one incident. One worldwide, newscasted incident. So I think she's a very small-minded person.
Yeah, the issue that I have with her, asking him to like find another church is like, spirituality and religion is such a personal journey. So like, you want him to go somewhere else, but like, what are you trying to get out of it? Are you just trying to please him? Because that's not why you go to church, to just please your partner. It's like you're wasting both your time. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't think she's into it. And it should have been a deal breaker for both of them.
And it's odd that it's not. And I'm like, that's what I'm trying to search is like, do you really want this so bad that you're going to alter yourself from following the teacher that you want to follow in the sense of like, this is the person I'm receiving my teachings from. I trust them. This is where I want to be. But then a girl comes along and is like, well, find a different church. And he's like, okay, I'm going to like, dude, that wasn't important for you.
Well, the only reason I can kind of, and maybe this is why I like Ben, because the way he describes his relationship with religion is more faith-based, and I can relate to that, and that might upset people. But for me, it's more of a faith base. And even like we go to church, it was important to us before we even became members. We had this group meeting with our pastor of the church to ask these hard-hitting questions that mean a lot to me. They're a big deal to me. And I want to know where the church stands on it. I don't want to just read it on a website. I want to talk to the pastor and the leading members. Where do you stand on certain topics? Because it might not be a good fit for me, because I am faith-based. I wouldn't say I'm a religious, like a, Bible thumping type of person, and that might upset a lot of religious people, but that's just not me. I grew up Catholic. I stopped going to Catholic church as soon as I could when I wasn't being forced to, because I had a horrible relationship with religion. I didn't feel good going. I would leave church feeling condemned and sad and whatever. So I just had a horrible relationship. So I can understand people who, fear away from it. When I moved out to Texas, I went to churches with a good friend of mine. Once again, she's very religious, ministries, and, has been to all over the world helping, developing areas, helping hungry kids, helping kids learn English and stuff based off of her ministry teachings and, what she feels in her heart. And I couldn't do her churches. They just did not sit well with me. And they were Christian churches, and we found one, and it works for us, but I'm faith-based. That's, I guess, like what Ben is saying. Maybe, it's maybe not that end-all be-all that we stay at this church. Maybe I'd be open to looking for other churches. And there are, I don't know about in Catholic churches, but in Christian churches, there seems to be more wiggle room of openness. And maybe there are Catholic too. I just haven't experienced those or witnessed those. But out here, from like Victor talked about some of the churches he went to, they're even more open than even our church maybe. He's been to some that are very like just anybody and everybody, even though I feel like our church is too. It's very diverse, like races and kinds of people that are going. So I don't know, maybe he would be open to it, but I just feel like it's her. She's so small-minded that she wouldn't even want to give it a chance, because that would make her anti whatever she wants to be.
That's the thing that rubbed me the wrong way. That goes exactly what you said, is she's issue basing her church decision. It's like, where does the church stand on these issues? And that's a very like formulaic. It's almost kind of like a politics way. It's like, where do you stand on these certain things? And it's like, all right, what are you doing for me? And that's the same thing as like, you got to find the experience, like I said, that works for you. Stop viewing it as like, where do you fall on these issues? And start viewing it as like, where do you trust to get your learnings, your teachings that speaks to your faith? She doesn't want to do that. That's not what she does.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But be real with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Telling him, I don't think I can do this unless you find a place that specifically on their website says we're open to LGBTQ plus. Great. Okay,
But the
what if
thing- yeah,
is
sorry.
that the only thing that matters to
I
you?
was just gonna say that. Like, there's so many other things. Like,
I don't know.
My worry is that they rehashed this topic so much that they didn't get to any of the other topics that are important, and then that's going to come back to haunt them. In their last date or whatever, they were talking. My boy Ben was tired. He was tired of this conversation. He was tired of all the BS. My boy had a long day at work. She's over here bringing it up again after I'm sure they talked about it off cameras, on camera, off camera, over and over. He's tired of it. And he said it like, again, we're talking about this. She was like, I don't want this to be the only issue that we have. But he was like, but it has become the only issue we talk about. And I don't think they talked about much other things. I think that's going to be a problem for them to actually get married because they don't know where they stand on other important topics because this is the only topic they talked about. And she's the one bringing it up all the time.
yeah.
I don't know. I
Save
don't
Ben.
like how she's handling it.
Save
Run,
Ben.
Ben.
And maybe
Run.
there's more to Ben, but it does seem like he genuinely does try to take an approach of being open to different experiences in life, different people. I mean, his best friend, which I want to talk about, I don't know if you guys have heard or seen on social media, the girl who's like, oh, I'm agnostic, and we sat and we talked about this faith-based things.
Yeah.
People tried saying it was fake, and she came out and was like, absolutely not. I will stand on this. He is an amazing friend. He has been there. He would give you the shirt off his back. It doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. He is a kind person, and we are friends, and like posting pictures and stuff like that of their friendship. She's like, this isn't just for TV. So Ben rides hard with these people, these Avenger friends, you know, that almost seems like it's fake because it's like, it's such a diverse group. But he apparently is very open, which is like, isn't Sarah, that's your whole thing, is somebody being open-minded and stuff?
It's not on her terms. It's not the way she wants it to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like how she wants it. Yeah. No.
And that's important. I think a lot of this seems like it's the sister or sister-in-law's opinions being channeled through her and it's coming out. Because even when she was...
Nah, go ahead.
No, I was saying even when she was talking to them and they were like kind of feeding her ideas in mind. You know, like it was horrible to watch because you could tell she really loves Ben, and I think she's okay with where Ben is on a lot of things. But I think because the sister and the sister-in-law are saying these things constantly to her and feeding it, this is why the conversation keeps getting rehashed over and over again, even though they already talked about it, is because the sister and sister-in-law keeps feeding it into her head.
Yeah, I'm sure it has not been easy for her sister and her partner experiencing some things they experience, and probably partially because of religious zealots, I'm going to call it. I think that's a separate area. I don't like to mix them all in. So I'm sure they have have had bad experiences or experienced something that puts them like that. But you got to be careful how you influence other people in making them think the way you do just because of your experience when it might not be theirs. Like, if that's true that she's being influenced by them, and she can lose out on a really good relationship because of that, because she's only have this one track mind where it's like you have to stand on these issues when you're not having an open mind to what this could mean for your relationship. And I just like,
yeah, she's definitely going about it the wrong way. And I think in her defense, I think this is her form of advocacy. Like, this is how I'm going to advocate and be an ally.
It just comes off so
But
virtue signaling.
Totally.
Like sometimes.
Totally. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I almost feel like...
No, go ahead.
I just said quick. I just almost feel like the sister and sister-in-law are making it a point for her to say these things so it gets awareness over and over again. I mean, I guess they're trying to get her to use the platform, but I don't think she's utilizing the experience and experiment to actually vet Ben and make sure that they agree on these other topics that are important to them.
Yeah. There would be better ways to expose the issues at hand than what she's doing right now, in my opinion. If they really want things to be, an advocacy, this is not really the way to do it, is to try to, like, back somebody into a corner to agree with you. Like, I don't know, especially somebody, and I mean, once again, it goes back to politics. Why is it not okay to say, like, hey, I support you and I'm all for it. I don't have maybe enough knowledge or exposure to maybe stand on this hill and be like screaming to the rooftops with you, but I support you and I'm here for you and I'm open to learning more and I'm open to try to meet you there. Why is that not okay sometimes? Now, I know we're talking about marriage and it gets harder, but I feel kind of like that's where Ben is. He's trying to say, like, hey, I'm trying to see where I can meet you on this. I just haven't maybe had enough exposure. I don't have a brother or a sister who are gay, so I haven't walked that life with you, but I'm trying to see, where you're coming from and what would make you more comfortable, and that's not good enough. I don't know.
And on the opposite side, it's find a new church and maybe I'll go twice a year.
Yeah.
Like,
but not to be like Sarah and keep beating a dead horse. We'll just move on. And I feel like this has been a heavier podcast, but I feel like they're topics that kind of, this has been a big deal that they're not talking about. So we might as well talk about and let our viewers be open to talking about in our comments. We'd love and to,
we're not talking about their dresses.
No.
We don't care about that shit.
The next two couples, there's not much to say. Let's go to Taylor and Daniel. Cute date. I don't know what else to say.
Happily forever after.
Yeah, no, for real. For real.
Yeah, they seem like it's going. I don't know. There wasn't much.
Yeah.
I don't know. They also don't talk about anything. I'm like, screw the dress fitting. I'd like to hear more of, like, how these people interact on a daily. I don't know, but I don't know. So, okay, good enough.
It was hilarious when she was, like, scrolling through her phone to find out if he unfollowed her. And her comment was like, oh, I got so many unfollowers.
Follows.
I was cracking up. But,
Yeah.
Girl.
I don't know. They seem like everything's fine. Nothing's really been an issue. So, I guess we're going to the altar.
Her
They're
love
both
makes him
rich.
10 feet tall.
Aw. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, there's nothing that you could fast forward if you haven't watched it through their whole part. There's nothing to see but a cute date. It was a cute little ice rink date.
Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
Be the boring
Yeah.
couple. Everybody wants to be the boring couple on Love is Blind. If you're not, it's bad.
Yeah.
If the cameras are always at your fake apartment, you're the bad couple on Love is Blind.
Yeah. There's something going on. And apparently he made it very clear because she's going to be in his Christmas photos. They went and took Christmas photos.
Yeah, they were cute.
Yeah, so
Christmas in March.
Well, he's preparing. He likes to prepare, so I don't know. So that tree was hideous though, but we'll move on from that. Monica and Joey. So we left off with some drama with Monica's sister. We're having issues with sisters this season.
I noticed. What's in the drinking water over there?
I don't know.
I don't want
Minnesota.
any.
It's the same drinking water they've been doing for the last hundreds of years.
Yeah. So that's really the only drama we see between them is how is Joey, it almost seems like Monica's saying they need to fix it. They, as in Joey and her sister, need to fix this issue that her sister has made up in her head with Joey. But now she wants to be on TV, and so she's cool with him, I guess. Am I confusing
My
it?
favorite thing, what's it called? Midwestern Nice or something like that? Where he seems super nice and chill and goofy, but then he's like, what in my personality did you not like? And like just asked the question straight up. And then she went back and was just like, you were just a lot. And he's like, I am. And like, that's it. Like, that was it. That was the drama.
Yeah.
He had a lot of energy. Like, yeah.
I was like, I thought you were fake, but I'm here with you today and you're a lot. Period. That's it.
Please
That was
hire
it.
me for your photography.
But both of them are a lot. It's a lot of energy. Like it's draining.
No, they're not. Remember, she's like, "You're a napper."
Napper.
Oh, yeah.
We're nappers.
Yeah. We,
Like,
the
that's-
whatever women, are
The
nappers.
sisters are nappers.
Yeah.
You hear me, Joey? Nappers. We don't do this high energy bullshit.
Like that was supposed to be a turnoff. Like he's like, didn't he say he also takes naps? He's like,
Yeah. He's like, okay.
yeah, that's
cool.
fine.
I don't give a
I'll get
shit,
my
take a nap.
laundry folded while you're sleeping.
Yeah,
That's cool
like-
because you can't do that shit.
Yeah. Like,
Oh my
with your
god.
shared socks.
Yo,
Communal socks.
The sock bin.
oh my gosh. And you, the funny thing is, she knows that's weird because she did not want to share that
Yeah.
on TV, but she was forced to.
I'm sorry, he's a lot. What the fuck when he walked in and he had to do the whole dance routine? He's a lot. I was like, hell, Victor's like, oh, I would have such a good time. I'd walk the fuck out. I'd be like, oh,
I enjoy
I
it.
can't do this shit unless I'm drunk.
He was like,
It would
I'm a
literally be
lot.
Like, the
You made me
Office,
play
me
the fucking
staring at the
banjo.
camera. Like, and I have nothing against it. It's a fun family. I was like, look, they look like they're having a blast, but that's a lot for somebody like me. I'm more introverted. It takes me a long time to warm up. I would literally be like Jim from The Office, just staring at the camera, like, fucking get me out of here. Like, I can't do this. Like, I changed my mind. I want off the show. I'm uncomfortable in my own skin.
I'm uncomfy.
Yeah, yes. But he's a lot, bitch. Like, that threw me through.
You know what's a
loop.
lot? Is her outfit was the sister's outfit.
lot.
What? That was a lot. She had like a
Yeah.
bandana with like boyfriend jeans, but were like
Yeah.
graffiti, but then the plaid thing.
I don't know. The only one that seems
She
like
was
a
on
lot
TV.
is really her. So, I don't know. Shit.
I mean, she said it herself. I just think she's jealous and she wanted to be the first. I mean, she's the older sister. She wanted to be the first one to get married. So she's trying to kind of scare Monica and Joey away from each other. But then I guess she was
Bro.
like, damn, I could be on TV if you
Yeah.
hire me to take some shitty photos of you guys.
Yeah.
And here we go. We have a photo session. And I don't even think she took the photos. I think the Love is Blind cameras had to come in and take the photos because it was so shitty.
Probably. I wouldn't
So
know.
they're like, all right, you move out the way. We're going to take the photo and you can take whatever
Yeah.
shitty photo you're going to take.
I knew you guys were
Go
in
take a
love
nap.
when you didn't listen to me. You're just so into it, so you're in love. You didn't listen to me. Bitch, you're probably used to that. Nobody's listening to you. Like, that's probably the story of your life. I'm sorry. Like, just, I don't know. She irked me with that. And I know it's probably, it's hitting her hard, whatever. Her younger sister's moving on. But girl, contain yourself a little bit. You're about to be on
Yeah.
national TV. Think about it before you speak a little bit. Take a couple seconds before you open your mouth. in this
Take a
season.
nap.
But
Take
your nap.
And
Sleep
then
on it.
come
Thank
up
you.
with something.
Thank you. But that's really it. I mean, they seem to work through it. So I guess green light. We also don't know anything on a deeper level with this couple. Once again, we don't know. And maybe that's because these couples stand on the same side. Like, I feel like, what's their name?
Monica?
The ones we were just talking about.
Monica?
Taylor and Daniel.
No, Taylor and Daniel. I feel like they definitely come from similar conservative backgrounds, and maybe I should just say allegedly. I don't really know, but I'm just assuming that. So they seem to get along. They seem that vibes for them just based off of their parents kind of already having a vibe, like they were chill with each other, So I'm like, maybe that's why we're not seeing any of these deeper conversations, because there's not much to be had. Like, yeah, same, I don't know. Maybe not. And maybe it'll come up eventually. But both of these couples, Monica and Joey and them, we didn't really see any of that kind of talk. No prenup, no nothing.
Yeah. I do think that all this energy is gonna wear out. They're gonna get, what's the word? I think they're gonna get sick of each other for some reason. I feel like there's no balance. There's nothing to neutralize them. And
Yeah.
I think that they're gonna get tired of it.
I could see people
So
think-
heartless.
What? I'm just saying, there's no buff. There's no, they're just
yeah.
drinking coffee all day. Like, it's just like nonstop. I don't know.
I feel like Joey is a lot. I don't know maybe quick-witted. I don't know what it is. There's more depth to that man than he puts off. When you meet him, you think it's this happy-go-lucky. But as we've seen, when people kind of go at him, he's dead-faced and he's like straight to the point, like, go ahead, ask. Like, he doesn't care, and not in a rude way, but yeah. So I don't know. I think there'll be a yes at the altar.
I think they're a yes. Taylor and Daniel are a yes. I think Virginia and Devin will be a yes. But we left off with the Sam and Ben cliffhanger. I think they're a yes too. To be honest.
You said who?
Sam.
Sarah and Ben.
Sarah.
Yes, Sam.
Ben.
Yeah. I don't know.
What was the cliff? Oh, them getting married. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I see a works.
Who's the no?
I think she's gonna say no.
I think she's
Yeah,
gonna
I
say
think
no.
so,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but something just telling me.
I think it is a 50-50, but I think if in the pods it didn't matter to her that he was like halfway, and in real life it didn't matter to him that she was like half-assing the religion stuff, I think they'll say yes. It's not actually good. It doesn't actually matter to them. It doesn't actually affect them.
Well, I think that's all. This is a long podcast. Sorry, to our viewers that it was a little bit longer, but I mean, it needed to be talked about. Unlike damn episodes where they hovered over things, I feel like we needed to have the talks. So,
Agreed. Dave's a bitch. Bye.
Bye.